Hi everyone, thanks for tuning into another episode of D Industry. In this episode, again, we have our very special guest Tezan back with us. And Tezan, super excited to have you again onto the episode too.
Thank you so much, Tej. This has been phenomenal. I think the first episode that we did a couple of weeks ago, and now having me again, it's really an honor to be on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tejan. And folks, if you haven't seen the episode one, we did a wonderful episode, AI for Bharat, where we have spoken about how AI is enabling India and in different scenarios. In this episode, we're going to talk about some really awesome tools using which you could enable yourself, be it in your personal life or in work life. With that, let's get started, Tejan, today's episode. So, if you could start with a quick brief about yourself.
Okay, sure. So, hey everyone. For some of you who have seen the previous episode, they might know me. For those who don't, hi, I am Tezan Sahu. I work as a software developer at Microsoft. Earlier, I was working as a data and applied scientist, and that was when the previous episode was shot. In this time, a lot of transitions, etc., has happened, and now I focus a lot more of my work on building third-party enterprise copilot extensibility plugins, decorative copilots, and stuff. That's the team that I am a part of. And beyond work, I think I'm very passionate about just the entire field of AI, just the way, just to learn more, just to explore this field, explore tools, research, and as while I'm exploring these, I would love to share some tidbits, my learnings, etc. So I do create a bunch of content and pretty active on LinkedIn for that matter. And I'm also an active mentor on TopMate in the field of data science and AI, helping people to just kickstart their careers and become really impactful with what they do. So yeah, that was a brief about myself.
That's wonderful, Tejan. So let's get started into today's episode. So a lot of the folks who are wondering like what could they do with these AI tools, could you just help us explain how could AI enhance your productivity?
Sure. So I think AI and productivity today, they just go hand in hand. I think there's hardly a person over here who may not have heard about the potential use cases or the potential that AI has in just skyrocketing your productivity. I think the entire thing started with ChatGPT coming up towards the end of 2022. And since then, this plethora of tools have come up. And I think today, almost every day, in fact, if not every month and every week, let's say every day you have at least one or two tools and new techniques coming up, springing up in almost every domain. If you actually go onto this website called Product Hunt, you can actually see the level of AI tools that are out there and the kind of use cases that they have. So you today folks who might be developers and who have worked with Python, they can understand this analogy a lot better. Maybe let us try to explain it. So among every programming language, people are fascinated and drawn towards Python a lot more these days because Python inherently has a lot of support for almost any use case that you want to do. I mean, you think about any use case, it could be, let's say, something related to finance, something related to health, something related to a particular technique, etc. And you have a library pre-built for it. You might just have to extend it a little and bring in your what do you say, your particular use cases or specific things. Now take this analogy and apply it into just extend it into AI. Today, after let's say 1.5 years of this supreme AI boost, you just think about an application and there must be at least one tool which can help you in that. It's just a matter of finding out the right tool. And that's why I always say that you just need to be good at figuring out the right tools for you, figuring out the right mechanism for you to expedite your process, be it writing, be it editing videos, be it doing the stuff on your job, could be data analysis, and today even software development and a bunch of other things have been impacted or impacted in a very, very positive way through AI. I think as a designer, you might also be very familiar in using a bunch of these creative AI tools, like maybe these AI plugins in Figma and UIZR and a bunch of other interesting stuff that's really revolutionizing the stuff in design.
Yes, Tejan, thank you so much for giving us a quick intro. With that, it's a great segue for us to dive down into some wonderful list of tools that you have collected. And folks, these tools will try and give you a quick demo of how to do it, and we'll also try and drop the links of all of them in the description below. If you have any doubt, like Tejan mentioned, he is available on TopMate. You could reach out to him and explore like how does the tool works behind, and also he writes a very beautiful newsletter where he break down these AI tools and give you a detailed tips and on how does this actually the tool functions, what is the science behind it. So I'll attach the link to that as well in the description. With that, Tejan, over to you. Let's get started.
Awesome. Thank you so much for this opportunity. So today I think I discussed with Tej and we were like, hey, we should do this. That we at Microsoft and at different we've been privileged to get this opportunity to work with a lot of these AI tools, explore a lot, and uh, just experience the true power behind these fascinating tools. So among these, let's say over the last 1.5 years, I might have myself tried more than 200, 300 different AI tools. I mean, almost every day I'm trying out something new. And then the biggest challenge for many folks, I think folks who are new to AI, is the fact that they get overwhelmed a lot with the plethora of tools that is available. As I was mentioning, every day you have a new tool, what to focus on, how to focus on the right tools. So that's why today I thought, let me just distill all of my explorations and see if I can just come up with a set of, let's say, my 5 or 6 go-to tools that I use regularly in work, in life, which have been very fascinating. Firstly, to work with, they have made me a lot more productive, and I believe they have a use case for every profession. It's not it may not be very niche focused or domain focused. These are tools which almost every professional can definitely try to use in their at their work, at their personal endeavors and stuff. So I'll be happy to share a bunch of tools that I have. Let me just get started with sharing my screen, and we can go ahead from there. Tools that I would like to talk about is related to this uh, related to this work of designing websites. Now, you might feel that designing a website is something which comes naturally only for, let's say, web dev folks and stuff. But think about it. Today, you might need to create a portfolio website for yourself, showcasing yourself. For example, I have mine, it's tezansao.com. You might have, you also have yours. And as professionals in today's digital powered world, it's very important to, it's very critical to have a website, a personal profile of sorts, which has your portfolio projects and a bunch of other things, showcasing your capabilities, your testimonials, etc., to just make you stand out. Plus, I think if you were just trying out some idea, if you're just curious to go and get into a startup or just get a pulse of how people will react to a particular product or idea that you were thinking out. Maybe creating a website or a landing page for it can give you a good sense of what the public perception is. So website development, I think today it has become a necessity of sorts. If you haven't realized it, well, today it's a good time for you to realize it, then uh, and do something intentional about it. The key hindrance that I've seen with many people is that they feel that they've always felt that web dev is something related to coding. If not coding, you may be needing to spend a lot of time on these platforms like Wix, etc. Although they are low code fashion, they don't need you to write code, but it definitely takes a significant amount of time. So today I'll introduce you to this amazing tool called Vjik AI first, through which you can just create a website within less than 5 minutes, and it's totally customizable. And today I'll show you in after 5 minutes, once your website you are fairly satisfied with your website, you can actually deploy it and you can see it running on the web itself. You can just interact with it. So Tej, for this, I have a little surprise for you. So I am a fan of your podcast, Nodes of Design, and I just observed that while you have a good presence on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, you don't have a website of sorts for Nodes of Design. So I was thinking, let's take the next 5 minutes and create a website for Nodes of Design. How about it?
Oh, wow, that sounds really great. There was a few reasons why we didn't have the website, but looking forward to see how Tejan plus AI will help us build a cool, crazy website. So yeah, let's get started.
No, so I'm taking up this challenge. Let's see if we can develop a website for Tej's amazing podcast in, let's say, the next 5 minutes or so. Cool. So here I am on Vijik AI. You just need to sign up with your Google account, and you'll get some number of free credits for you to explore. And every website that you create might just take up around 40 credits. So you typically would have. I started out with a couple of other websites, so I have just 80 credits now, sufficient for a couple of more websites. So just go ahead and hit this create new website. And this will open up an interface like a chat, very similar to a chatbot. This tool has a very interesting mascot called Kimi, who's here as your assistant. And you just need to tell it what you need to do. So that is to be done using simple natural language English, simple English. So basically, I just written a detailed prompt to describe what I want. So as we said, we are trying to come up with a landing page for the Nodes of Design podcast. And all the remaining part, all this thing that you see over here is just a snippet of what I found on your Spotify about section for the podcast. Just copied it down so that the AI has some context about what it is supposed to design. Then I just hit enter. And it might take a couple of seconds, maybe 30 seconds or so, for it to think about what it should be doing. So yeah, it said that I'm on the free plan, and this is, mind you, this is all being done in the free plan. So folks on the call, who are watching this, they can definitely go ahead and try this out right away. So it said that first, what is expected? Tell me what kind of website you want. I hear it's a podcast. So let's say I just say I want the landing page for this podcast. So the thing with all these AI tools that I'll show you is the more context you give it, I think the more nuanced the answers will actually come out to be, and the more interesting it is. So it's asking me for the name, and of course we do have a name. Sometimes the AI can behave a little dumb, so you need to just spoon feed it a bunch of things. Maybe it's algorithmic behind the scenes, but yeah, the name is Nodes of Design.
I really love the mascot and the cute micro interactions they have added it.
I know, right?
So
Awesome. And the best part is that it gives you a lot of suggestions as well. So that the fact that it gives you so many options, either you can pick from them. I could have easily picked from the suggestions that were offered, but I just chose to give something of my own. So it gives you a lot of handle for customization. So now I say that I want it in English, and I hit enter. So that's exactly what AI is supposed to do. I think we all think that AI might be here to take up our jobs or just replace us. But honestly, the best use of AI that one can do is by using it as a true co-pilot of sorts, truly as an assistant for you. And yeah, I think it's summarized all of the things very beautifully that I have thought of. And I just say we'll click OK now and hit me with a thumbs up. I just said satisfied. And yes, okay. No.
And this tool is still showing it's in beta. I wonder how it will be once it comes out full pledge.
Very true. I mean, the power of these tools today, even in the beta testing, they have been, I think, it's absolutely phenomenal with what you can do. And as you can see, the chat window has gone to the side and it's actually assembling the website. It's all working, it's enhancing the content. You'll see an entire proper landing page for this website.
Oh.
It may not have the exact colors and schemes that you might want, but it's all editable. But this will give you a first draft with probably placeholders and stuff for the images, the text, the copy. It also gives you placeholders for the team, that if you want to include the team, if you want to include, let's say, testimonials, etc., multiple social media links, all of that you will see in a few seconds.
Wow.
And how much time did we take? I think we started at 10:20. It's 10:24.
Yes.
4 minutes, and
exactly
I think
4 minutes.
Precisely. So yeah, the overall thing might just it might just take a little bit of patience, but this is definitely 2 minutes is so much better than 5 minutes is so much better than spending 2 hours on it. And
Wow.
there you go. So Nodes of Design, the website is ready for you. I just scroll through to see, dive into the Nodes of Design. It understands that it's a podcast, and all the call to action buttons are appropriate. If this were a particular product or maybe a beta product that I would want to design a landing page for, these buttons would definitely have said sign up to the wait list or something. But now let's say it has the latest episode, some placeholders for the latest episodes. Join our creative community.
It added creative community also.
I know, right? This is just out of the blue, but it understood that design is something for creative folks, and you might have a community income, and this just gives you a good segue to add a link to our community as well.
Yeah.
And some of the podcast highlights. So here are a couple of podcast links and stuff. So you can subscribe and a bunch of things. Listen to the episodes, meet our team, join the community. It's a full-fledged website already. It's for you. It's just a matter of you to maybe just tweak a few things here and there. And the way you can do that, it's also very simple. You just chat to edit. And you see, you are in the edit section. You can add any section that you want. You can remove sections that you may not want. You can change these pictures over here. You can replace these images with something from your own. You can look online. You can just maybe, we can add a photo of yours or the logo of Nodes of Design and stuff over here. And you can also use AI for adding sections. Now, if I just say in the chat window that add a section to show testimonials of subscribers. So what this will take a couple of credits that were allotted to you, but this will just create a new section altogether. See, voices from inspiration from our listeners. This is just done with a simple click, a simple prompt, simple click, and then you see this.
It automatically added content also.
Exactly. So it's just a matter of you to change the names, add the right content from your Spotify or Apple Podcasts testimonials, and you're all set. The best part is, as I mentioned, let's say we are done with the design part, we're done with the content and stuff, we are happy with it. It's currently unpublished, but let's say I just say that I want to go ahead and publish it. Okay, something went wrong. Never mind. These things kind of happen with AI.
But
sometimes
this gives such a great this thing that people who aren't really into web or design or anything, it enables them in so many different levels. For example, like even a common shopkeeper could have his own landing page or create his own e-commerce application with this. And
very true.
This is a wonderful tool, Tezan. Like, and this is how we were planning to do this episode. Like these tools which could enable the AI Bharat that we have previously spoken about in creating their own thing. So folks, you who are watching this video, you saw right how easy it was to create, even though if you have no dev knowledge or design knowledge. AI enables you to create and come up, so you don't have to wait for somebody else to come and help you out. You yourself, using these tools as a co-pilot, could help you build better products and help you increase your productivity or increase your sales or beat anything. So thank you, Tezan. This was really wonderful, and it came as a shocker for me also. Like all the details it has clearly taken, the grid it has applied, the images
totally
used. It was very nice one.
The best part is that you have your website for Nodes of Design available on the internet. It's published, and basically, if I just open it in a new tab, it's nodesofdesign.bjig.app, and the website is hosted. It will load up in a second.
Oh, nice. So this is like a Framer and Webflow where it also allows you to host, not just build. Oh, wow.
Precisely. So this might just take a moment to load up, but as you see, this is published over here, and you can definitely check this out, and you can just update it you can do any changes at any point of time and just hit the update button. It'll make the changes in real time, and you should be in a position to just have your website hosted. You don't need any knowledge of web hosting, web domain names, etc. Don't have to worry much about that. So it uses the VGIG domain. Of course, if you have that knowledge of custom domains, etc., you can point those custom domains to this particular VGIG app. But otherwise, I think you are in a good shape.
And also adding custom domain is not that of a tough task. It's kind of easy.
Very true.
So in that way, it enables a lot of people to have their own landing pages. Freelancers could also have their own sections of their work and everything. So it's really nice. Wow. Tool number
Awesome.
one was
So
really mind blowing, Tejan, and it's a great segue for us to get into the tool number two.
definitely. So I think we saw how AI can revolutionize creating websites. But is websites the only thing? Because now I think people have, let's say you have a website, you have an app concept in mind as well. Some kind of a tool that you want to build, some kind of a thing that you want to create as a startup, probably. But you want to just create a quick prototype and see if it's functioning, how it would look like, how it would feel like. So, can we create basic, simple apps without any coding knowledge, just by specifying what we want in an app? And with the power of these awesome language models, which have been trained on a lot of coding related data sets and a bunch of maybe they've been trained on GitHub data and a bunch of other things, they are able to generate code for you simply by looking at what you have written in the specifications.
Oh, wow.
So the second tool that we're going to look at is called Llama Coder, which internally uses a small language model called Llama 3.1. As you can see, it's powered by Llama 3.1. And as you can see, the tagline says it all. It turns your idea into an application. So this is something, just mind you, this is something which can be used for fairly basic applications that you want to just test out, maybe single functionality or a couple of things, maybe you want to test the UI, etc. It may not do very well with super complex apps, but at least to get a look and feel or get a sense of what you could do with an application, this is very good. So as you can see, the basic thing over here it's mentioned is in the placeholder it said can you build a calculator app for me? But I think that's a little too simplistic for showing it to our audience. So what I thought is, let's say I am a person who wants to improve my typing speed on the laptop or on the computer. So can I create a small application which can help me track my typing speed and just categorize whether I'm doing well or not? And let's see if we can just build that using a simple prompt. So I just said that I want to create an application that measures a person's typing speed, and the app should be dynamically able to calculate the speed of the users as they type, as well as we want the accuracy. Let's say you have a typical phrase that is given to you and you want to type it in a text box, and that's how the accuracy and the typing speed would be measured. And the results we want it to be displayed, and it should allow the user to change the sample text that is being typed. So otherwise, what we might end up with is just a static text blob, which the user would want to type over and over again. We don't want that. We want some variability, maybe a click of a button and the text changes. Then you start typing again. And yeah, this text should be generated dynamically and should be random and should be in English. So you see the amount of context that I've given it to function well. So that's very key, which I have been iterating over earlier as well, that it's very essential for you to give that much context. And you hit enter and you can see some code being written immediately in the browser itself.
Yeah.
No fancy stuff for you. You don't need any coding knowledge. What you just see is this UI over here, which says that you can type this particular, this is the sample text that we want the user to type in this particular box. And we'll have the accuracy and the speeds in words per minute shown over here. If I click reset, you can see that the text is changing. The text that needs to be typed is changing. So that functionality is over there. Now let's see if we are able to see how our typing speed is. So it's the simple thing, the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dogs. So let me just start typing. The quick.
Wow, it's giving a real-time speed and accuracy.
So see, I just changed something, the accuracy dropped.
Yes.
Let me just get back.
Nice.
That's where you are at. I was at 33.75. With every keystroke, the speed is changing. And let's say I want here's an text box to basically make changes to our application. If we are not satisfied with this, maybe, for example, let's say we want to add some color. So we want to say that let's add some color to the text. Displaying the speed. For low speeds, show in red, and as speed increases, change it to green, to orange, and yellow.
Okay.
So let's see if it can understand what my intention is, and it can update the application. So again, it kind of starts writing the code from scratch. And now you see there is this get speed color function that has been added, which kind of says that if the speed is less than 20, it should be red. If it's between 40 and 60, it should be yellow, orange, etc. So it's added that function. Let's see if we can get it to do something on the UI as well. So as you see, it's 0 over here, so it's red. Now let me see if I can may change it with typing something. Is
Oh, nice.
spec. The accuracy is bad, of course, but you saw the color change from red to green.
Yes.
And that was just by me prompting, hey, I just want this color to be changed. I can change the code manually. Let's say even at less than 100, I want it to be in yellow. So as you can see, it's less than 100, it became yellow. So this is the true power of creating applications, small applications with AI as well. And the best part is you can just click on publish the app, and this publishes your app to the web. You can just go to the new, go to a new tab, click on, the link was already copied, just paste it. And this is a shareable link. You can share this with anyone, and anyone can just use this application.
Nice. So I can use this on my system also
Yes.
too. Wow.
Yes, precisely.
Wow. This opens so many possibilities for people to build these tiny widget apps and all.
Very true, very true.
Something which
It's exactly
is
what
personalized
this
to
is.
their own need, and this typing text is one of such wonderful contexts where we oftentimes struggle to type, and this way you could just create your own app with your own everything. And one great thing
Very
also
true.
I saw is it clearly shows you where and what also in terms of the code, so that people with basic coding knowledge could understand and edit it and also publish the app. Wow.
And the second, I think this is one way to look at it. What an interesting perspective that I have is if a person wants to learn how to code. Now this is built in React. Let's say I am a person who is starting out with React. I'm not familiar with how to build apps, but let's say I want to learn certain interesting things. What I can actually do is, while this application is being built, I look at the code, I try to understand what is being done. And if I don't understand the code, the best thing I can do is maybe just copy this. Maybe this is a function which I don't understand. I just go click on Copilot on Edge, and I just say that, hey, explain this piece of code to you.
Nice.
And within a few seconds, I think it tells you line by line what exactly the code is about and how it's typing, how it's changing the typing speed, how it's computing stuff. And yeah, this is, I'm able to understand things in a much more granular detail. Now that helps me to level up as a coder as well, if I'm just starting out.
Yes.
It's a big blocker, it's a big removal of a lot of blockers.
Yes. Learning while doing.
Precisely. So I think this, I just showed you that how I use Microsoft Copilot embedded into Edge as a very cool assistant for me. And that kind of brings me to the third tool, which is Microsoft Copilot embedded into Edge. So let me just show you a couple of things that I have really loved with it, especially since the time, I think since the beginning of October, Microsoft announced this new version of Copilot, which is way more smoother. It has a fantastic UI, and the speed is damn good. It's fascinating speed. fascinating accuracy with which you get answers. So I am really hooked to it. And I'll just show you how I have been using it. This was one example that I showed you, but let me show you a couple of more examples. So one thing which many of you would find when you are trying to onboard onto a lot of these AI tools, for that matter, is whenever you sign up, you come across this long terms and conditions page.
Yes.
And as humans, we are just scrolling and hitting that I agree button. It's okay for most of the tasks, but being a little more vigilant about, let's say, responsible AI and a bunch of other things, and a bunch of, let's say, intellectual property related stuff that's been debated a lot upon these days, I believe it's a bit more. What do you say? It's a bit more savvy for you to just understand the key nuances of such pages, and that's where I have used Copilot a lot. For example, here I am on this Spotify for podcasters page. This is the legal terms and conditions. It's a fairly long and legal document over here. I do not want to parse through this entire thing. So what I do is I simply open up Copilot and I just say that, hey, I want to summarize the key points from this and just give me what you are able to come up with in simple language. I don't want any jargon. So in the prompt, I've just said that I want clear, simple language and just give me the crucial aspects and any potential risks that I might. The best part is this Copilot understands that I want it from this particular page. I mentioned that in this page, in this page. And when I hit enter, it will just parse all the content from this page and give me a very quick summary of what is all of it. In less than 10 points, 10, 11, 12 points. Yep, 12 points. Instead of reading this entire article, I can just quickly skim through these 12 points and see if there's anything that is a little odd or things look good. If things look good, I'll just go ahead and accept. That's one easy way in which you can use Copilot for just helping you simplify things in a much better way if you are too tired of reading through a particular blog or long blog, etc. But you really want to understand the crux of it, just spin up Copilot on Edge and just ask it to summarize the things that's present on the page. It does it very well.
And one more good thing it does is it points you to that source. So if you just click on that one, it will just automatically highlight from where it has picked that up and where the parts of the text, like that one tiny one written next to it, it will directly land. Yeah, click on that one after the 12.
Yeah, that's exactly what I clicked on.
So
it opens up that entire page. So these citations and references, this just to give you a flavor, this is exactly the concept of grounding. Now, when you're using existing context, existing, let's say, web pages, documents, images, video, whatever context documents that you're using to give the LLM the right sources of information to provide you with the final answer, it greatly improves the accuracy of what the LLM would give you. It reduces the chances of hallucination, and this entire process is called grounding. It's a very good research area. It's a very hot research area today. A lot of teams at Microsoft also are working tremendously on these areas. Okay, so I showed you one example of using Copilot for understanding code, another example of trying to understand some long documents, etc. The next thing I will probably I'll show you something which is very cool in a way that let's just try to shift gears and move towards some aspect of visualizations. Because what I have observed is that whenever we learn the most, when we are able to visualize things in the right manner, and oftentimes when people are looking at, let's say, complicated documentation, it could be written in points. I don't say that it may not be written in points, but it might just be hard to get the feel for how the system is particularly working or what should be done, or just get a sense of what the thing might look like. So for that example, I have chosen this particular interesting blog from Geeks for Geeks, which talks about how the UPI works. Okay, so it firstly talks about how the UPI system in India, what it is, the benefits, and then it goes into the details of how this UPI works, a lot of steps. So it's written very well. It gives you a flavor of, hey, what does this step entail? It's fairly easy to consume. But then there is no diagram as such. There's one diagram, but it may not be the very best way of understanding the sequence of how things are done. Especially in complex systems, understanding the sequence of how things happen, the processes happen, is very critical.
True.
So this process or this particular use case that I'm showing, it might be useful for a lot of software developers as well as product managers and designers to understand the overall flow of how the system that they are building looks like or what adjacent systems might look like. So let's say I want to understand how this particular UPI entire process works and I wanted to visualize it. One very, very good way of visualizing these sort of architecture diagrams and stuff related to computers and related to real world as well is through this paradigm of things called as UML or Unified. It's basically a language which it's simple language which can convert text into very professional looking diagrams. You might have seen those in computer textbooks and a bunch of other things, but coming up with those diagrams, flowcharts, etc., by yourself might be a lot of time taking stuff. So we will use Copilot to help us wrap all of this information that we have on this page, convert it into a UML syntax so that we can render it on a UML server, which is available online. It's just copy pasting the code and seeing how the thing will be looking when it's visualized.
Oh, wow.
So here again, I have this Copilot opened on my side, and I just prompted ki hai, write this plant UML syntax to explain and visualize the working of the payments UPI app. So if I just say the first line, it will try to figure out a statement from its own knowledge of what UPI might mean. It may not use the context of this page. So I've explicitly told it that use the contents from this page to enrich your diagram. But this is very crucial. If you want to use contents from a particular page, you should instruct Copilot to use it. So now what it does, it just within a few seconds, it describes what the various participants are. It just created this entire schematic for you. And now the only thing that I need to do is just hit copy and go to this plant UML server. Okay, I'll just close this ad. Close this. This is the simple plant UML server. This is a text area where I need to just paste the code. And within this, automatically you have this entire flowchart, this process flow diagram with you. Now, this is so much better than that diagram which was there on the blog itself. Now it tells you the exact timestamps, the way in which the sequence of flow and what data is going, when is it going, when is something else coming in, etc. It's a very, very good way of visualizing stuff. It works really well with the system can be as complex as possible. And you can see, you saw here, there are more than 5 or 6 components. It works well with more than 5 to 10 components as well. This is a very good way of just quickly visualizing stuff. Could be very, very helpful for software devs and data scientists when they're doing architecture discussions, design discussions in their day-to-day work. This is all available freely.
This is actually really nice. Like, it also helps you break down and understand on a high level on how does things function on back end with. This was very surprising and mind-blowing to me as well. Very simple. So
very simple. Wow. Very simple.
That's a very powerful.
So just I think we talked about how powerful visualizations can be, and this is one way in which you can visualize, let's say, process flow diagrams and stuff. But let's say I was just going in and browsing through this particular article, and for example, the reason for me browsing this article is probably I want to create a presentation about UPI. Just let's assume that I have a presentation coming up, let's say tomorrow, and I don't have time. And let's say I want to describe these things in as quickly and as digestible ways as possible. So this process flow diagram definitely helps me to create that entire flow of how the thing would look like. But let's say I want to talk about how what are the benefits of UPI. Now, showing this in text is not the best way. You do agree to that, right? Presentations have to be much more visual. So let's see if we can convert any text for that matter, into compelling visualizations through AI. For that, I'll introduce you to this tool called Napkin AI. Now, once you sign into Napkin, this is what Napkin AI's interface looks like. I'll just go ahead and sign into it with my Google account. And it will just show me that if I have some extra current napkins ready or not. So each document that you create over here, it's called a napkin. The analogy being that You're typically people in restaurants or real hotels, etc. They exchange notes and quick visualizations, quick stuff through napkins by just drawing on it.
Yeah.
I think that's where the analogy is taken from. And let's see the power of this. So I just copy this entire piece of text from the blog that I want. I can also actually ask Napkin to generate text from AI, but yeah, let's just go with the existing text for now. I paste it here, and now comes the magic. I just have to drag, let's say, select all of this content that I want the visualization to contain. And you see this lightning icon over here.
Yes.
I just click it. And within 10 seconds, you will see a ton of options to choose from. So this is a Parthenon sort of a diagram, pillar sort of diagram. You have so many options to choose from. You can choose this, benefits, this style.
Nice.
This is something. This is one visualization which I like a lot. You can have these sort of the UPI popularity. What all are the contributing factors that led into a UPI popularity? So it's just the kind of narrative that you want to build, the story that you want to build, and you can just choose the right visualization from here. All these options are provided. If you are, let's say you want a very simplistic, using all this, you want a very simplistic thing, just show a comparison between UPI and traditional.
Yes.
This is a very effective visualization to go ahead with.
Yes.
And all of these options are provided to you with a single click. Let's say I'm happy with this sort of a detailed one. I choose the styles. I can see if I want the level of detail that I want as well. I want more detail. I want less detail. And boom, that's it. The visualization is ready. It is editable. You can change the colors. You can change the content over here. Say money.
Also, one thing I noticed is the icon accuracy is also very close to what is written.
Beautiful.
Because finding
Absolutely
icons
good.
itself is such a painful task, and it just instantly does it so well, and it's so related to the context of what's been written.
Very true. And I think if you don't like the icon, you can always change it. So I think it gives you that option as well. You can download it. You can probably just change the icon over here. I think you can change the colors and a bunch of other things as well.
Nice.
So yeah, I think this is a very, very powerful use case for visualization. I have used this very often nowadays in all my presentations that I do. It is supremely helpful.
Nice.
Any text that I want, I just copy it here, create a visualization, and I'm done. Now we talked about a lot of building blocks for creating, let's say, we started with text, we started with websites, then apps, then text, then we moved on to visualizations. And I think the narrative that I'm trying to build over here is that with all these visualizations, I think the most plausible next step is to see if we can create compelling entire presentations with AI.
Yes.
So you might have heard about a lot of tools that are available to do so. We have at Microsoft, I think we have Copilot for PowerPoint, which does extremely well on a few things. But since it may not be available for a lot of folks out there who are not a part of the enterprise Copilot subscriptions, so I've come up with a few free tools as well, which can really do the job for you. And they do it phenomenally well. So let me just quickly go and show you this tool called Gamma AI. So Gamma is also it's a free tool. You again just need to sign up with your any personal account. And this is how the workplace would look like, how your workbench would look like. You can have a bunch of free credits that you can experiment with. It's more than sufficient for creating at least 5 to 10 different presentations. So please feel free to play around with it. And for this demo in today's podcast, let's see how we can create presentations out of something very abstract. It need not be something really focused towards creating presentations. It's like anything can be converted into a well-looking presentation.
Yes.
So for that, I just show you this simple blog that I had written a couple of months ago when India won the T20 World Cup. So that was a very intense moment for all of us, I believe. And then it just hit me that there were so many lessons that we could learn from that one match itself, that entire tournament, that one match. So I just penned down all of my thoughts into this blog. And let's see if we can convert this blog into a presentation. Let's say I want to share my thoughts in the form of a presentation to some executive, for that matter. And this is a very random example. I just want to show you the capabilities. So I just chose this particular article. So the best part about Gamma is that when I hit on create new with AI, You can create stuff using notes, existing notes. You can ask the AI to generate the entire content from scratch by just giving it a simple prompt, a very small prompt. Or you can also import files from existing Google Docs, presentations, or maybe docx files, and even web pages. That's the power. So, of course, you can experiment with AI powered entire generation. But let's say if I give it some good grounding data, let's see how it works. So I click on this. Again, I have a ton of options. So the options that I'm so fascinated by the amount of options that it totally provides me. So let's say this is still in beta. This import from URL is still in beta, but I'll show you the power of it. So it'll just ask me to enter a URL. So I go to my blog, copy the URL and paste it here and hit import. What it does, it will basically go ahead and scrape all the content. It will scrape the images as well and will create a particular outline for you. So it asks me whether I want to create a presentation, I want to create a web page or a document. So that's also flexibility. Let's say I want to create a web page from something.
Okay.
I can do that as well.
Nice.
But for now, let's go ahead with presentation. Continue. And in the background, it crafts its prompts, etc., based on the settings that I have. And now it has given me, it's basically parsed this entire website, this blog, and has given me a bunch of things. What you see that your content is too long, upgrade to a pro. Now, this is probably because I have a lot of these extra things over here. So let me just remove all this extra bit. Maybe I'll just do this. And this. And I think towards the bottom, I have a lot of extra things which came in from the entire page that was present, which is not a part of the blog. So this is some human effort that might be needed for such thing. Minimal amount of human effort just for cleaning and giving it the right. And now I think we are within the limits. It tells me that if I continue, I will spend around 40 credits from the things that I have. Now I can specify the number of slides that I want. Let's say I want 10 slides, or maybe I'll be happy with 7 slides. That's it. Cool. I say I have 6 timeless lessons. So 6 plus 1 or 2, I think you're good with that.
Okay.
And then I can have some more settings over here. I can choose the format, whether it's a presentation, whether I can choose the card height. Do we want to be a particular, whatever the aspect ratio should be, 16:9 should be good. I can choose the kind of content per slide. I want, let's say, very brief content, medium, or very detailed content. All of that can be chosen with simply clicks over here. Continue. Again, Gamma has so many beautiful templates that you can choose from. You can just select. So this was about men in blue. So let me see if I want something in blue. They have lots of amazing templates. You can just search for them. Let's say I just hit blue. I search for them. All these are blue related templates. I think I'll go with this.
Nice. Okay.
The preview, and I hit generate. And just sit back for the next 1 minute and wait for Gamma to do its magic. It has started creating the slides.
Oh wow, it's creating live. Oh.
Yes, it creates it live for you. You can see the brilliance that it brings.
Wow.
It's taken context from the images. It is actually using those images in our thing, in our slides. We can definitely tweak the image aspect ratio and stuff. That's all manual stuff that you can do in the end. But the entire framework is ready for you. And how much time did it take? You're already done with 7 slides.
Yeah.
And just picked up the specific points, just giving you the right diagrams and the right icons and a bunch of other things. And all of that is customizable. This is what you have. Now, if I just click on present, I have my presentation. So, okay, let me just go back to the first slide and start the presentation from there.
It also understood who is Tezan, so it used the right image. Nice.
Yeah, very true. Just talks about the key highlights of what were the key learnings from that entire outing that these guys had.
Nice.
The animations also work really well. It's all automatically done. And within a few minutes, we were able to convert an entire document, an entire blog post into a fairly well-crafted presentation. The best part is that you can just export it. You can just share it. You can export it as a PowerPoint. You can export it as a PDF. You can convert them into the individual slides into images. Just have it the way it is. You can share it with anyone out there simply with this Gamma's link. People can edit it. You can publish it to a particular website. Bunch of things can be done.
Nice.
And of course, you can edit these things. You can ask AI to generate images for you if you are not satisfied with these images. And you can also import images from Napkin. Maybe this is something which I wanted to import. I can just copy this entire image and paste it over here. It's that simple.
Wow. This is a really cool one.
So
I've previously also heard and see few examples on Gamma, and this is actually a great tool for anybody who is having difficulty in visualizing or putting out there as a presentation, and especially for students, this will act as a very key thing while working on their projects or showing them or presenting them or learning the skill of how to get started with at least by the means of aid of AI. So wow,
Very
this
true.
is also a wonderful one.
I think great that you brought the point of students being able to use such tools. I think that actually gives me a beautiful segue to transition into the last tool that I had in store for you folks. And that's a fairly new tool. It's a very, very recent tool that has come up with, and it has taken the internet by storm.
Yes.
The tool that I'm talking about is Notebook
Okay.
LM by Google. So this is something which came out very recently. And if you look at the backstory of it, if you actually go ahead, I was reading up about this particular, the origin of Notebook LM. It actually started as some kind of a hackathon project in Google, which got incubated into their labs. It typically had just one developer working on it for a bunch of time. And then they scaled up to around 5 to 10 or so developers. And when I show you that tool, you will not be able to believe that this is something which was developed by a handful of developers working on this as a side project of theirs. And this is taking the world by storm.
Yes.
So this is what the interface of Notebook LM looks like. Now, just to give you a description of what this tool is, it is typically to be used as a research assistant for you. And anything that you want to read, anything that you want to learn more about, you can just add all those sources in, create a notebook over here, add all those sources into your notebook. Notebook LM supports up to 50 sources from in a single notebook. And these sources could be articles, they could be YouTube videos, they could be podcasts, they could be documents, presentations, you name it, you can add it over here. And once you add it, you can ask questions about it. You can create summary briefs about from all the sources. You can create quizzes, short quiz, long answer quizzes, exams out of all that stuff. And the highlight feature, the true highlight feature, which I have adored since the time I've started using it, is this transitioning, transforming all your content into a podcast like audio format, wherein you have a couple of speakers discussing the key points of whatever your sources have, whatever your document sources contain, in such a consumable manner that even if you don't have time to read through all of the sources, you can just listen to that 5 minute or 8 minute summary of how these people are talking about what the key highlights are, and be done with it. You know your material. The creation of this particular thing may take a little while. The creation of those audio snippets might take, let's say, 5 minutes or so. So just to save time, I already have a couple of notebooks ready with me. But before we jump into that, I'll show you the interface of how you can create a new notebook. Just click on this new notebook. And the first thing it will give you is to add a bunch of sources. As I mentioned, it supports a bunch of sources, and you can create as many notebooks as you want. And each notebook can have up to 50 sources. So let's say I want to have some text copied from a blog, website, YouTube video. I can do all of that with that. So for example, I just wanted to get something from this UPI demo. So I'll just see the website, I'll copy the link, and I'll insert it. And as you see, this data is getting inserted over here. How does UPI work? This notebook guide comes up. It gives me immediately a summary of what that website contained. I can start chatting with it. Ask any questions. For example, it's giving me suggested questions as well. So let's say I say, what are the security risks with UPI? It might just take a while to understand and give you the exact answer. An interesting thing that I would like to try out over here is that now, since it has context, can we try to generate that UML syntax here itself? So let's say I just ask it, generate plant UML. That's of the system using methods. So let's see if it can do something like that. This was not one of the suggested suggestions, suggested chats, but yeah, let's see if it can understand the process and generate. So yeah, it has generated a bunch of things. It has given the explanation as well, and it has given the syntax. So let's see if I can copy this, go to my plant UML diagram generator, and paste. And there you have it.
Oh, nice.
Here it's an even more detailed thing. You have the payer, pay, more number of, much more context. So definitely, this is also a great way in which you can do these things. And as you can see in the notebook guide, I showed you a bunch of things. Then you can create study, if you want to create a study guide out of it. So click on study guide. It will create a new note for me within 5 seconds or so, 10 seconds. And this study guide will contain questions, key information, short questions, long questions, answer key to them as well. So see here, the study guide short answer quiz, 2 to 3 sentences. It just created a small quiz for me. It has given the answer key as well. It has given me essay type questions, and it's given me a glossary of the terms. Isn't it powerful for any student? Now let me show you the coolest part of this. So here you see there's this audio overview which talks about creating a deep dive conversation with two hosts. I can customize it by let's say my source has a lot of things. Let's say we talk a lot about UPI, and I want this conversation to focus only on a part of it. Let's say I wanted to focus only on, say, the benefits of UPI. Then I'll tell it over here that, hey, focus only on benefits of UPI. And I hit generate. This might take a couple of minutes, but it'll generate it for you. Now, while it's generating, let me take this moment and show you something which I've already generated. And this comes from this particular engineering blog by Microsoft, which was a very recent blog, April, which they talked about how they built Ask Learn, which is a retrieval augmented generation based knowledge based service. So it's a fairly long article, a lot of text, a lot of diagrams, a lot of understanding a lot of time that might go into read this article and understand. But let's say I just copy all this article. In fact, I just use this particular link the same way in the as I used earlier. I go to Notebook LM and I just say Notebook LM here. I will. Okay, I think I changed my account. So yeah. Awesome. So this is, you see this notebook, how we built this Ask Learn agent. Yes. For this, I've already generated that audio for you, and I'll just play it for you. Load the conversation. Okay, this may take a minute or so to load as well. So these conversations are saved in the server, and they'll take a moment to load. This is a 13-minute summary, and I think I've enabled the audio. Just let me know if you're able to hear this.
Ever feel like you're just drowning in information?
Oh, yeah.
Like the internet is this giant fire hose, and you're like just up with a teaspoon trying to get a sip.
Totally, yeah.
That's what we're tackling today.
That's a great way to put it.
We're diving into how Microsoft is using AI to like cut through all that noise and deliver the exact information you need right when you need it.
Right.
It's this system. It's called Ask Learn. And it's so much more than just a search engine.
Oh, absolutely. It really is. It's fascinating, actually. It's like a peek into the future of information retrieval, how we're going to be finding the stuff we need.
Yeah.
And it goes way beyond, you think of just asking a computer a question, type it in, get an answer.
Right.
But it's so much more than that. It's about
maybe I just go skip
super intricate, right?
Yeah.
Where you've got different AI components all working together.
Yeah, you don't want to be getting bad information.
Right, exactly.
Especially in a place like Azure where things can get real technical, real fast.
Exactly. It's all.
Did you enjoy that?
Yes. This is a wonderful way, and I was part of the early beta testers for Notebook LLM, and I've seen it from that beta testing stage till now, and it turned out really powerful. And this audio feature especially is useful for such complex topics like this, where you want to hear experts' perspective or how does it sound like in a human language? How could you understand and break down such complex terms? So, yeah, wonderful example also that you have picked, Tejan.
So the highlight for me is that how far we have come across in this entire text-to-speech domain as well. And
Yes.
it's a true testament to it, because if you listen to this entire audio, you'll actually feel that, hey, this is not something wherein it's just reading those paragraphs. You will actually, when you notice the speakers speaking it out, they will use intonations. They will use ums and ahs, just like you and I are speaking right now.
Yes.
That is extremely powerful. The first time I saw this, I heard this kind of a feature was when a couple of months ago, ChatGPT came up with its audio feature, wherein you can listen to any of these answers. Now, that was very powerful. I think this entire thing started off early when Microsoft Copilot, Bing Copilot had its audio text to speech sort of a thing in its mobile application. That was fairly well. It was well received, and it was able to read out passages very well. However, I think that human element was missing, and folks at Microsoft have been working a lot. And with the new version of Copilot, I think we have a lot more humanly voices and intonations being able to do that. But I think it all started off with ChatGPT coming up with their intonated version of speaking out the answers. Then I think Notebook LLM takes it further way up. And I think there are alternatives to Notebook LLM as well. I think there's this startup called as Recast AI, wherein any of these, it's again something wherein you convert blogs into podcasts of sort. You can choose the number of speakers that you want. You can Notebook LLM with its entirety. I think it's a very, very powerful tool for anyone who's out there trying to research, trying to learn more, trying to build something.
If you like this episode, if you want us to do something like this in the future also with new set of other tools, please do let us know. And I'll attaching all these links that Tejan has showed in the description below. And if you have any doubts, you could reach out to Tejan via his top mate. And yeah, Tejan, few parting words from your side.
I think this was phenomenal. I think thank you so much, firstly, for giving me this opportunity to interact with your audience and showcase a bunch of these interesting things that I have been using a lot and some of my favorites. And it's truly a very different era that we have entered into. That's what I will just leave you with. And every day there are a lot of these tools, and I think it's natural for anyone to get bogged down by just the overwhelming breadth of tools that are available. So I think as an AI explorer, if you might call me that, one thing which I have definitely learned is that take dedicated amount of time, be intentional in learning about which tools that you want. There'll be a lot of people telling you about these tools. In fact, my exposure to these tools is primarily through LinkedIn. I follow a lot of these AI influencers and stuff. They chat a lot about a bunch of tools on LinkedIn, Twitter, a bunch of repositories, standalone tools that are available. So my first instinct always is, hey, let me just see if it's available for a quick spin. So most of these tools have some form of freemium kind of a tier or some kind of a beta testing sort of a thing, wherein you can just get a sense of what this tool is about. And if I like it, I actually intentionally use it for a while to build an understanding. And then I probably just put them into a bucket list of my tools. And then from there, I just, whatever things I've been using for a month or so, I just pick them and just ensure that I continue using them for a while. And I think that's helped me a lot, just skimming through those tools, exploring what is out there in the breadth, and just touching all of them a few number of times and banking on what works really well for me. So what works for me may not work well for different professionals. I mean, different professions have different requirements. So the best that you can do is explore as much as you can. Keep it time boxed, but capitalize on whatever you're exploring. I think that is something very, very critical. And build that muscle. It really builds that muscle for you to explore, exploit, and become an AI-powered professional in your work.
That's a very great advice to wrap up the overall conversation today. Thank you so much once again, Tejan, for sharing these great insights with us. And we are looking forward for more future episodes. So thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.